Privileged to introduce Katherine Keegan, Director of the Office of Future of Work, to give us an overview of the Office of Future Work's efforts to expand registered apprenticeship programs across Colorado. Katherine began her career working with immigrants and refugees in Boston. This work led her to pursue a Master's of Science in Social Work at the University of Texas at Austin, where she focused her studies on community and administrative leadership. Since then, Katherine has managed AmeriCorps, workforce readiness, and career coaching development programs in Texas, Indiana, and Colorado. And luckily, in August of 2019, she joined the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment as the Director of the Office of Future of Work, leading the state's efforts to raise awareness about the future of work, modernize worker protections and benefits, prepare for digital transformation, and through the State Apprenticeship Agency, expand access to registered apprenticeship programs, which we are super excited about, as you know, Katherine. So excited to have you in that work. In addition to Katherine's presentation, we'll then also be joined by Sandra Jackam, Work-Based Learning Alliance Navigator, supporting NoCo Inspire, and the Larimer and Weld Work-Based Learning Alliance, which is no easy work. That's a lot of effort she puts into that. She will discuss how to connect regionally to apprenticeships and other work-based learning partnerships through regional work-based learning initiatives that collaborate to engage the business community and to connect them with valuable talent. Learn how to connect regionally to apprenticeships and other work-based learning partnerships through this wonderful tandem of Katherine and Sandra. So the screen is yours, ladies.
All right, I think I'm correctly sharing my screen, but I'm sure someone will let me know if I'm not. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for inviting me to speak. I'm so excited to be here and learned so much from Bonnie's presentation. So it was great to hear that. And I think a lot of the resources that we'll share here will build off what Bonnie shared. So as Yvonne said, I am Katherine Keegan. I'm the Director for the Office of the Future of Work at the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. I have my email address here, and I'll be sure to share slides and also some links to resources after I wrap up my talking points. I wanted to start by just sharing some information about what the Office of the Future of Work is, in case you haven't heard of it. It was established in September of 2019 through an executive order from Governor Polis, and it began with a mandate to understand and raise awareness about the impact of the future of work. And so as the office has evolved, we've established a few key priority areas, including expanding access to registered apprenticeship programs, because we see that as one of the most viable models to improve equity in our talent pipeline, to help businesses find the talent they need, and to support businesses in building those sustainable talent pipelines so all Coloradans can find opportunity. In addition to that, I do presentations around future of work trends so that we're providing that context and information to partners across the state about what the future of work looks like, what the past of work looks like as well, to understand how we've gotten to where we are today and what our economy looks like. The office also works closely with the Colorado Broadband Office to think about digital transformation and increasing digital equity across the state. So as we improve our broadband infrastructure, we also need to decrease the adoption gap and ensure that everyone has access to affordable internet, to devices, to digital skills, so that they can pursue their goals, whether that's for work, learning, or daily life. So if that's of interest, wanted to throw that out there. And then lastly, we also do some research on worker protections and benefits. As you heard Bonnie say, more and more people are pursuing independent contractor work and piecing together a lifestyle that includes many different types of jobs. And so we are thinking about how we evolve our benefits and protection systems to be more portable to support all the different types of work people are doing. So wanted to provide that context for you. And ultimately what we are working towards is a future of work in Colorado where everyone has access to the education and skill training they need that is connected to meaningful and sustainable employment. So very excited to be here to talk about one of those strategies, which is registered apprenticeship programs and the resources we have at the state and the progress we're making in the state. Also, you can tell I've had my coffee, so if I'm talking too fast, I'll try to slow it down, and then feel free to ask any questions as well. I'll get to those. I've already said the term future of work a bunch of times because it's part of my my title in the office that I oversee. But I think it's helpful to define the term because it's a buzzword. It was a buzzword before the pandemic and has become even more of a buzzword. And so I want to share our definition as we think about the future of work. We're considering many different forces at play that are shaping the work we do and how we do it. So not only is it the impact of technological advances like the adoption of automation and artificial intelligence, it also includes the impact of market forces, demographic shifts in our state who makes up our workforce, as well as the ongoing impact of globalization. So we try to take a pretty holistic approach to understanding what the future of work might look like and conduct research to understand how that shapes work here in Colorado. So very holistic. It's not one thing, but a combination of forces that are playing out for different populations, different regions differently. And so and I won't repeat what Bonnie said because she said it better than I could have with her presentation, but we've seen, of course, how the pandemic has accelerated and changed a lot of the future of work trends that we were looking at. So the office was established in September of 2019. We had some understanding about these trends to pay attention to, and then the pandemic hit and really shaped, accelerated all of these trends and is reshaping the future of work as we know it. And so we've seen how individuals are leaving work, how the adoption of technology has increased, both in terms of automation and artificial intelligence, but just the digitalization of work as well. We know that there's been an outsized impact on low-wage workers across the country and across Colorado who were more likely to be in positions that were impacted by the pandemic. And we've seen that as our demographics continue to change, as our birth rates continue to decline, and as our workforce continues to age, that we really have a need to tap into talent pools that we may not have considered before or targeted strategically. There is not one potential worker to be left behind. And so thinking really strategically about how to build that talent pipeline and retain that talent pipeline is a key part of our strategy. And so on the right side, you see, we're really thinking at the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment and in the office about how we create a culture and resources to support employers and workers to build a culture of lifelong career-connected learning so that people can reskill, upskill, next skill throughout their lives. One thing we do know about the future of work is that it includes a lot of transitions. People will be shifting work a lot more often as industries change, as their personal circumstances change. People will be putting together multiple jobs. We've heard some, with the growth of the independent worker, that people are moving from having 6 jobs across their career to having 6 different types of incomes at once. And so what does that mean for our talent pipeline? We believe in skills-based hiring as a way to tap into talent pools we may have underestimated, to understand how people build skills throughout their life experience through a wide variety of training and life experience and careers. And we know that employers need to be invested and supported in producing talent so that we can build our talent pipeline in partnership with education and other workforce development strategies. So as part of all of that, one of the key investments we've made in the state and the priorities that addresses a lot of these talent strategies is registered apprenticeship programs. That's why we believe apprenticeships really are a part of the future of work. They're a powerful model because it involves bringing industry to the table to really shape and be intentional about designing their talent, their skill development and talent strategies. It brings in different segments of the workforce as the journey workers, as the mentors. It creates a sort of lower barrier to entry for people who may be transitioning industries or maybe just starting out their careers and exploring opportunities for them. And we know it has a really great ROI across the country. We've seen that for every $1 invested in registered apprenticeships, the return on investment is $1.47. So we're going all in on apprenticeship in Colorado. We believe it's a critical piece of our future for talent development and retention throughout the state. And so I'm excited to share with you some of the updates about the State Apprenticeship Agency and these new investments and resources from the state level, in addition to what you'll hear from Sandra. I think one of the key things, I think many of you might be familiar with apprenticeships already, but what I always like to share is those 5 key elements of a registered apprenticeship program. which really, I think, highlights those key pieces that we see as so powerful about this model. So it's that direct business involvement. It is intentional, and it begins and ends with businesses being at the table and shaping what they need. It also includes on-the-job learning, so people are building skills in the workplace as they're employed. It also has classroom instruction. You can connect, depending on how you design your registered apprenticeship program. It could involve a community college, an institution of higher ed, or another training provider, or you could have in-house related instruction that takes place in a classroom. It also involves a progressive wage increase, so that as you learn skills as an apprentice, your wages increase based on that skill development. And then when you complete a registered apprenticeship program, you receive a certificate of completion, which is a nationally recognized credential. We've also seen more and more apprenticeships involve, in addition to that wage increase, also involve an interim credential related to that industry. So all of those pieces, again, are supporting the employer and building the talent that they need, and are also helping an apprentice enter into a quality work experience with these protections in place. And Colorado's seen significant growth in apprenticeships across the last few years as we've grown our investment. We have 6,000, a little bit over 6,000 people in Colorado that are currently participating in an apprenticeship program. We have 266 apprenticeship sponsor organizations, as well as 560 overall apprenticeship programs. But our labor force is much bigger than that, and we see such potential to grow apprenticeship as we continue to try to meet the demands of these current challenges we're seeing. Last year, we had 75 new programs added. The previous year in 2020, there were only 30 programs added and 20 in the year before that. So we're seeing this growth year over year as part of these investments and as part of the resources, as a result of the resources that communities like Fort Collins are putting into this work. All right. So as you may have heard, in June last year, Governor Polis signed into law HB 21-1007, which established a state apprenticeship agency in Colorado. Right now, in order to register an apprenticeship program, you register with the U.S. Department of Labor. We have resources in place to facilitate that registration and reduce that burden for employers. As we know, it can be a bureaucratic process. So we've worked to streamline that, and we're excited to work towards becoming the state apprenticeship agency, so that registration happens in-house and doesn't happen at the U.S. Department of Labor. More about that timeline in a second. But with the passage of HB 21-1007, it was really one of the first large investments from the state into apprenticeship expansion. And it established the state apprenticeship agency within the Department of Labor and Employment to serve as the primary contact with USDOL concerning apprenticeships, to accelerate the growth of apprenticeship programs and the diversification of apprenticeships, both in terms of industries that haven't adopted apprenticeships as a viable model, and for populations that aren't participating in apprenticeships currently. We also, once we are recognized by USDOL, will be the party that actually registers the programs and ensures compliance with our standards and those key elements that I laid out before. So we're really excited to be starting on this path. There's about 30 other states that are state apprenticeship agency states and have that authority in-house. And we believe it'll present a great opportunity for us to continue to streamline processes and really increase adoption of apprenticeship and make it as easy as possible for more organizations to participate. And so with that, we are in a little bit of a limbo right now with the passage of the bill in Colorado that set us on this path to become recognized by USDOL. And to do that, we have established 2 councils to support and advise us on the creation of our processes and standards. So that's our State Apprenticeship Council, which advises us on building and construction trades, as well as our Interagency Advisory Committee on Apprenticeship that advises us on all other industries. And so we're kicking off those councils this week, which will help us build our plan, which we'll submit to USDOL by October. And then we'll begin rulemaking once we receive that approval from USDOL. And our deadline, as laid out in the legislation in Colorado, is to begin registering programs by July 1, 2023. So that's when we will have the authority to register programs. Right now, we are building out our state plan and continuing to support the expansion of registered apprenticeships with the USDOL office. So wanted to clarify that, and I'm happy to answer questions about that as we chart this path forward and begin that process. As we are in this limbo, we do have resources, and our entire expansion model has been built on facilitating registration with USDOL. So we have a few key resources available at the state level, in addition, again, to what Sandra will share that they've developed in Larimer County. So we have scale-up grants that are live for applications right now, and I'll go into more detail about those, but we're trying to invest and support the launching and expansion of registered apprenticeship programs and provide funding to support that. We also currently have technical support and technical assistance models that are resources that are available to employers across the state or to interested parties across the state. So we have a team of apprenticeship consultants that are categorized by industry who can work with you to understand whether registered apprenticeship programs are a good fit. And then we have a team of specialists in-house at CDLE who actually help with that registration process to submit to USDOL. We have apprenticeship support as well. We have apprenticeship scholarships for new apprentices that are might need additional assistance to buy materials, equipment, or anything that they might need to get to begin their apprenticeship program. And so we have up to $3,200 for apprenticeship scholarships that are available for new apprentices. And then we will be launching employer incentives as well to support and provide resources to employers who do bring on apprentices. So very high level overview of the key resources we have, but wanted to make sure you were aware. And if you have additional questions, to encourage you to follow up with the apprenticeship team, and I'll share the contact information there. Just because this opportunity is live right now, I wanted to make sure you were aware of the Scale Up Grant Program. So the RFP is available on our website, and these are awards for $10,000 to $50,000 to either launch or expand an existing registered apprenticeship program. So maybe you've thought about registered apprenticeship and you weren't sure if your program was a good fit, or you didn't have the resources to get through the registration process or build that out. We want to support you and encourage you to apply to this program. We have a cycle one that's released right now with up to $1.2 million being awarded to organizations in those small grant amounts. And it's an 18-month performance period. Applications close on April 15th. And so we have a lot of questions and answers resources and a webinar about how to apply, and are happy to talk through that as well. So wanted to make sure you're aware of that. And then also wanted to share just the other additional resources we have at the state level. We have an apprenticeship directory. Our website has a lot of training materials and information about different components of registered apprenticeship. And as I said, we have our consultants that are working across the state to expand resources and awareness about registered apprenticeships. So again, I'll share this presentation after. We'll drop some links into the chat after I finish rambling to you all, but wanted to make sure you at least had heard of some of these resources to help move to that adoption from awareness piece. So I'll leave it at that and just want to say thank you to the organizers for inviting us. Really excited to hand it off to Sandra to talk more about the local resources that have been developed and have made Larimer County and Fort Collins a leader in this space. So
Katherine, can I just, before you start, Katherine, there is a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
So can you explain how the process or experience will look different once SAA is up and running?
Yeah, I can explain what we hope it will look like as we are just beginning those processes. But a big reason that this legislation was brought was to make sure that we have a streamlined experience for individuals who are interested in building out registered apprenticeship programs or who have those programs. So we want to grow apprenticeship in the state and see more industries adopt the registered apprenticeship as a model. And so by bringing it in-house, we hope to make that process easier than and more streamlined and applicable to our local policies and our state dynamics than at the federal level. So this doesn't mean we're shifting standards dramatically. We're in the process of building our standards, but we'll be, in compliance with USDOL in order to get that recognition. We just want to see we want the state apprenticeship agency to be responsive, agile, and to really streamline that process, as I said.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Morning, everyone. I am here as a representative of NoCo Inspire. And what great information we've already heard this morning, how to approach talent development and talent skill building. We've heard about resources at a state level to help support that work, and specifically apprenticeship. I'm here to talk about more regional work and initiatives that are happening that the business community can plug into. First off, I want to talk about what is NoCo Inspire. So Larimer and Weld County have worked to create work-based learning alliances. We have been actively engaging in this work for several years. And our mission is really wanting to align our education and workforce to be able to create more accessibility for businesses by removing barriers, sharing resources, but we really want to make it easier and efficient for businesses to connect to work-based learning. Why work-based learning? Work-based learning is a talent development tool. So it's one of the things that you as a business can connect into, and it really refers to opportunities for learning that occur in part or in whole at the workplace, and it provides individuals with hands-on real-world experience. So in a nutshell, NoCo Inspire is a website, one-stop shop to connect to all things work-based learning across Larimer and Weld County. So as a business, you don't have to figure out how to navigate where to find those opportunities. We have one website where you can go to and find those resources in one spot and make connections from that website. So we are, NoCo Inspire, we are here to help take your business to the next level. We want to address any of your needs, your workforce challenges, and talk with you about how work-based learning can be a really meaningful solution for you. Our partners consist of partners throughout the education system, so K-12, higher education. We have workforce partners who are workforce centers, our sister agency with Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And then we also have community partners. There are a lot of really great nonprofits in the community that work with job seekers and talent in the community and want to get them connected to work-based learning opportunities. And then, of course, we partner with our library districts as well. So we're bringing all these folks together to the table to best practice share, to create easier systems so that you as a business can more efficiently connect to the talent that we're all working with. And just so that you have this in mind, I heard Bonnie talk about it. I heard Katherine talk about it. It's that time for businesses to start thinking about those pockets of talent that they haven't connected with, maybe traditionally. And one pocket of talent that here in Larimer and Weld County that is hugely disregarded but not tapped into is our youth and young adult population. Youth and young adult unemployment is pretty high right now. I think the last time I looked, it was over 70%. And just for all those businesses out there to start thinking about, oh, I should connect with youth, I should connect with young adults and bring them into my work environment and start getting, work experience out of them, but giving them opportunities to learn and grow. Our K-12 system across Larimer and Weld County has around 90,000 students. Our higher ed institutions across Larimer and Weld are around 40,000. And so if you're an employer who's thinking, where's my talent? Where are the job seekers? My question and challenge to you is, are you connecting in with our education system? Are you connecting in with a talent pool that is sitting there waiting to hear from you, waiting to learn from you? So that is my question of the day and my challenge to businesses. And if you want to connect, going to NoCo Inspire, finding those partners and reaching out to them is the way to start that connection. So we offer across Larimer County a lot of really meaningful work-based learning opportunities. NoCo Inspire, we organize this website in a way to help businesses understand that work-based learning is not a one-size-fits-all, and it expands beyond internship and apprenticeship opportunities. So connecting to NoCo Inspire and utilizing resources from our collaboration and through our collaboration, we really want to be able to help business owners prioritize and get job seekers excited about opportunities to connect. And so businesses and talent can do this through meaningful work-based learning opportunities. It can be as simple as career presentations within the classroom setting. You could provide job shadow opportunities, career tours, and then, internships and apprenticeships are where you're making a bigger commitment to developing that talent. But there are much easier ways to get started and get involved that are still just as valuable and really a great way for you as a business to get in front of your community and help them learn about you, who you are, and the work that you do. We are focusing and will be focusing a lot of effort toward building out apprenticeship across Larimer and Weld County. You heard from Katherine, this is a really meaningful work-based learning activity where businesses have the hand in how their talent is developed. So we are focusing regional efforts toward apprenticeship awareness and development, and really are looking to help businesses expand their understanding and perhaps build out some more opportunities for talent to connect in that way. So when you go to NoCo Inspire, know that what you're looking at is all work-based learning focused, but we really organize it in a way to help you as a business understand how this tool can help develop the talent that you're working with. So we kind of grouped our work-based learning activities and programs within the 3 bullet points that you see on the screen, right? So how using work-based learning can build industry awareness and exposure, how you can become creative with hiring and onboarding practices. And then of course, work-based learning is also in retaining your current workforce. So those employee retention activities and trainings are also part of the NoCo Inspire platform. So what do we have cooking coming up? You heard Katherine talk about some really great resources that are supported by the Office of Future of Work. What I really want businesses to understand with work-based learning, no matter what the activity is you have people in your community that will support you with that. This is not something that you have to figure out on your own. And so we're focusing on apprenticeship development coming up on May 4th. We have an event where not only are we going to recognize those businesses who are engaging in this talent development tool, but we are also going to be providing some meaningful information to businesses who want to learn more about apprenticeship as a talent solution. This event is free for businesses to attend. We're going to be serving a breakfast. You'll have an opportunity to come and hear more about the why, but really we're a very action-oriented group of folks here in Northern Colorado. So we want to give you the tools to actually start taking the steps. Outside of the Office of Future of Work and the meaningful grants and resources that they have, there is the Statewide Apprenticeship Development Hub. And this is great because this is going to be a really highly specialized person who can help support in developing out that apprenticeship program, can support you in doing research across the country to find other similar occupations. They can help you find the connections that you need to whether it be to support the online or the on-the-job learning or the related instruction. But we want to share that information and that resource with the businesses at this event. Colorado Workforce Centers are a really great resource. And in fact, I always encourage businesses, if they just don't know where to start, I tell them to contact their local workforce center. There are apprenticeship navigators at both employment services in Weld County and at Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development. And those folks will be kind of your community contact for, asking those initial questions, figuring out if this is going to be a talent solution tool that is going to fit your business. And then they can move you and escalate you through the other resources that are there and available. There's also funding through workforce centers that can help support the apprentice. If you're working with apprentices who maybe don't have resources for training, who don't have resources to buy the tools and the gear, connecting with your local workforce center to provide support to that apprentice can be really meaningful. Believe it or not, our community college system has resources to support apprenticeship development. We'd love to share information at this event. We want you to hear about those resources so that you can find the appropriate program and support to help build out an apprenticeship opportunity. And then if you are interested in talking about youth, believe it or not, youth apprenticeships is a thing. It is viable. Youth apprenticeships is a really meaningful way to get young folks into your doors and working and learning at the same time. CareerWise Colorado is kind of our youth apprenticeship subject matter experts across the state. And they have done a really great job of balancing out not just the development of the apprenticeship program, but also that connection to the local school districts as well. So I would encourage all of you to register and attend the May 4th event to come learn about apprenticeship, learn about those resources that are there. But even if apprenticeship feels a little bit big, I would highly encourage folks to go check out NoCo Inspire and learn about the other work-based learning opportunities and the easy ways to connect to that talent. We don't want to let our 50,000 plus talent pool that's sitting there educating themselves, needing to have this work experience. We don't want them to not get connected in with our local community. And employers, you're the ones to raise your hand and step up and make those connections happen for those young folks. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody may have, but I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you at upcoming events to learn more about work-based learning.
Sandra, it's Yvonne. You do have a couple of questions. So could hiring and onboarding strategies be expanded upon?
So they can be. And, one thing that I always tell businesses is that work-based learning activities, especially an activity like internships, can really give you an opportunity to get to know an employee and their capability before you bring them on. Internships are not just held to educational systems or are not just academic in nature. We have our workforce systems that work with adults who are in career transition that need that experience or an opportunity to build out a specific skill set to make them more competitive in the job search in that career transition. And so internships is a great way to even connect with adults in the community who are looking for that transition. But work-based learning is a talent development tool. A lot of people think, oh, it's all about the student or it's just about the education system, but it isn't, because you as a business can start by doing those easy activities where you're committing to career presentations, you're doing job shadows, you're bringing students in for career tours. And what you're doing there is you're exposing those young folks to you, that you exist in the community, to the occupations that you have. You're getting those young folks excited about what you do. And then they go back and talk with their friends, or they talk with their parents or the teachers who are part of that, are learning about it and sharing that information. And then if you create an internship opportunity, then you can market to those groups of students that you're connecting with. So you can see there that there's a very clear lineation of how you can start with light activities, getting your business known, and then grow into giving a work experience. And I will tell you, I've been working in the internship world for over 10 years, and internships is a very meaningful way of finding employees, and not just finding them, but finding employees that want to stay. So very often I've worked with a lot of youth internship programs. I see those young folks being hired on, even part-time, because they're still in school or they're going to post-secondary. But that business has invested the time, that young person has shown the skill set, and that business doesn't want to let them go. And so again, creating the flexibility for them to be able to work, then you're keeping that talent and they're staying with you and being invested. So I hope that answered the question.
I hope it did too. That was a great answer for sure. And then another question was, how can people sign up for that apprenticeship, resource breakfast? And so it's on the Fort Collins Chamber website, the flyer that was in your slides. People will also receive those slides as well. But it's that link, and the whole information about that event is on currently right now on the fortcollinschamber.com website. So I have one more question for Katherine. And the question is, let me get back to it here. Is this apprenticeship program in conjunction with or in partnership with CareerWise by chance? I have used CareerWise in the past, which sounds like a very similar program, and I'm curious what the differences are.
That is a great question. CareerWise is a great partner of ours, and what they serve as is essentially an intermediary for the registered apprenticeship system. So they work in close partnership, like I said, with us at CDLE and with USDOL to help support registration. So they serve a similar role that we do currently in supporting and facilitating that process. And so they have some USDOL grants as well, and they administer those with a focus on those youth apprenticeships. So the main difference is just their population focus. They have a specific model, but they are helping to grow the adoption of registered apprenticeship programs for youth across the state. So partners in conjunction, once we get recognized as the state apprenticeship agency, those programs would then be registered with Colorado. And so we'd work with CareerWise in a similar capacity that they work with USDOL for their Colorado apprenticeships. Hopefully that was clear, but happy to clarify further if needed.
I really appreciate that. That was a great answer. So I haven't received any more other questions about the great conversations that we've had today about work-based learning, about apprenticeships. We're so grateful to have both Sandra and Katherine in our corner as the business community helping us with this great work, and they're both available. We'll share out their slides and their contact information as well. So thank you very much.